Hey, what is up, YouTube? Rules for Rebels here. As you can see, got a snowy day here in Chicago, so just chilling on the couch. I wanted to make a quick video for you guys. And today we're going to be talking about e-commerce and certain products and how it's basically a volume game. Meaning, if you're not ordering large chunks of inventory and if you're not selling in large volumes, you're just not going to be able to be profitable. So, a lot of you guys email me, message me, and stuff, and you want to get into selling phone accessories or other things. And I don't want to discourage anybody from entering any particular space, but I do want you to be aware of the challenges. And also, if you are going to enter a really competitive space, you're going to need to make sure that you really differentiate yourself from other sellers. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. One of the prime examples of a really tough to compete in volume game is phone accessories. And I don't mean to turn people off of that because you're kind of on the right track with looking for those types of products. There's a lot of people making a killing selling small parts, volume knobs for automotive components. A volume knob for a 2000 Toyota Camry, or a volume knob for a guitar that goes on a guitar. Little pieces that break, little pieces that people lose, little cords, HDMI to MDL or whatever that is, conversions, like little cords and stuff like that oftentimes have great margins and stuff. But phone accessories is one of the most competitive areas to compete in. So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to cut this video here and we're going to take you over to a slideshow and show you guys a couple examples. What's up, YouTube? Rules for Rebels here. And today we're going to be talking about high volume products and the challenges of competing in those spaces. So I had kind of an analogy for you guys. I'd compare like the phone accessory niche to a carnival game. And here's why. Like, let's think about some carnival games. There's a game where you stand like 3 feet away and there's a basket at like a 45-degree angle and you have to toss a softball into the basket. And it looks so easy, but it never lands in there, right? Or the basketball shooting where you have to hit a basketball like free throw basically. Or what's another one? The shoot the star out with the BB gun. It looks so easy, right? But in reality, what you don't know is that according to like physics, it's literally impossible to land that softball in the basket at that angle and from that distance. Or with the basketball game, the ball is overinflated and the rim is smashed into an oblong shape that basically makes it impossible to hit the shot. Or in the case of the BB gun game, they purposely have the targets off, so where you aim is not where the bullets go. And that's what I would basically compare the cell phone accessory niche to, and a lot of other high volume niches. And the reason being, because it looks very tempting. If we were to go on Terapeak right now and look up, Android chargers or phone accessories, we'd probably see several $1 million per week being sold. Same with Amazon. There's pretty good margins on those products. So it looks very tempting. It looks like a space that a lot of people want to enter, but there's a lot of challenges associated with it. And I don't like to turn people away from working within a specific niche, but I do like to, at the very least, let people know the challenges of working in that niche, and also some ways to kind of differentiate yourself or best set yourself up for success. So let's go over to the next slide here. So there was an article a while back, a couple weeks back. A major Chinese seller on Amazon plans to go public. Sales of Anker brand parent company Ocean Wing grew 75% in 2015 with a gross margin of 53%. Search for mobile phone chargers on Amazon and you won't have to scroll far to see products from Anker, which is basically the private label of a brand of Chinese electronics from Hunan Ocean Wing eCommerce Company Limited. Anker is a prime example of a Chinese company that's prospered from selling on Amazon, and now its parent company is preparing to turn its sales growth into capital by selling shares on a stock market in China. So just the point of this article, guys, if you're some small guy trying to buy $200 worth of phone chargers and sell them, you're competing with a huge manufacturer and importer. We've talked about before how Amazon's getting more challenging because they're allowing Chinese sellers to sell direct to consumers, which is kind of cutting out the smaller middlemen and importers like you and I. So just realize that if you want to sell phone accessories, you're competing with a giant importer and manufacturer. They're going to be able to import stuff cheaper than you. They're going to be able to create or manufacture stuff cheaper than you. And the amount of products they're selling basically make it impossible for you to ever beat them out in, excuse me, in the search algorithms on eBay and or Amazon. So some products are just a volume game. Small sellers just can't compete with the bigger sellers. Realize there's always somebody with deeper pockets and there's always somebody willing to work on smaller margins than you. Niche products, which a niche might be like I might sell just motorcycle accessories, but not just motorcycle accessories just for Suzuki Intruders from like say 1989 to 2000. I may sell drone repair parts, things that are very niche specific, tend to be more resilient to giant companies entering the space. It tends to be easier to set yourself apart from others. There tend to be better margins, etc. And in the next diagram, we're going to show you a perfect example of how a small seller can't compete with a big seller. So we're not looking at prices of phone accessories here. We're actually looking at prices of custom decks of playing cards. If you watched my video the other day, I talked about how you can create a Circle of Death card game, and this is one of the sites where I got the pricing from. So we're not talking about cards here. I just want to use this pricing chart here because most Alibaba sellers who are selling phone accessories aren't going to lay out the prices for you. Everything's going to be kind of a negotiation. So here the prices are clearly laid out. As you can see here, if you buy 1 to 5 decks of cards, you're paying $8.80 per cards. Whereas if you do 5,000 or more, you're paying $1.10 per deck of cards. And obviously at different price points, it drops. Prices start getting somewhat reasonable once you get up to 500. And once you get up to 2,500, prices really drop. But let's say in this scenario, we're selling phone chargers. You're the guy who's maybe ordering 30 to 50 chargers, right? So you're going to be paying $5.50 per charger. The big companies like Hunan Chinese Ocean Company or whatever that was we just looked at, they're ordering 5,000 or more. So you're paying $5.50, they're paying $1.10. Now let's say this phone cord, charger, case, whatever accessory sells for $9.99. Well, you guys are both profitable, right? You're almost doubling up on your money, which isn't too bad for a private label product. This guy is making like 9 times his money back, 8 or 9 times his money back. So he's making a lot better margins, but you're both profitable, right? Well, here is wherein lies the problem. If you guys get into a price war and you go to $9.98 and he goes to $9.97 and you go to $9.50 and he goes to $9.25 and you go to $8.99 and he goes to $8.50, eventually, this guy can go down to $5 and he's still making 5 times his money back. Whereas if you get driven down to $5, well, at this point you're losing 50 cents per unit that you sell. Another example, let's say you guys are both starting out without a lot of reviews. If this guy wants to run a 50% off discount, he can sell his product at $5. He's still making 5 times his money, and he's racking up a bunch of reviews while being profitable. You could sell your thing at $5.50 and rack up some reviews, but at that point you're not making any money. If this guy wants to run a bunch of campaigns and give this product away for $1, he's basically breaking even. Or even if he wants to give it away for free, he's only losing $1.10. If you want to give away your product for free to build up reviews or try to surpass him in sales rank, you're losing $5.50 on every unit. So I just kind of wanted to post this chart because I think it kind of illustrates if you're this guy and you're competing with this guy, you don't want to get into a price war because they're going to kill you on it. They're able to offer lower margins and stay more profitable. So with certain types of products like this, it's just really hard to compete. If we head over here to eBay, we can see here we got a 10-foot USB micro battery data sync cable with a wall charger. So basically just your standard Android phone charger. This is $4.99 with free shipping, right? Well, let's keep in mind the shipping is probably going to be $2.63. So let's see here. So we got $4.99 times, we'll say 13% for eBay fees. So $4.99 minus 64 cents minus 64 cents brings us to $4.35. Then we got to subtract $2.63, which is going to be probably the cheapest shipping. So that brings us down to $1.72. Now I'm guessing you're going to be paying $1, $1.10, $1.50 for each unit. So I mean, at that point, pretty much all your profit's gone. We'll kind of meet in the middle and say you're getting your product for $1.50 because if you're ordering smaller quantities, that's probably what you're paying, if not even more. At the end of the sale, you're making 22 cents. Now, when we factor in that you're probably going to need a manila envelope or a padded envelope, maybe some label printing stickers, printer ink, all your profit with packaging materials and ink is going to be wiped out. So you were making 22 cents. Now you're probably down to nothing or at a loss. So Really, only the guy buying 5,000 plus units at a time, getting them for under a buck, is going to remain profitable. And he's really not even making that much money. It's a volume game. I'm guessing he sold about 2,540 in the last week or the last month. So even though he may only be making 50 or 70 cents per unit, when he sells this many of them, it adds up to some decent money. So at the top here is a sample listing. If we go down here, here we're looking at a particular seller. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the same seller. Look at this guy's feedback. This is an 89,000, which is a pretty healthy feedback. 897,010 positive feedbacks this guy has. So we all know that what determines who shows up higher on eBay searches, who shows up on the first page of eBay searches, is based on feedback, seller rating, and sales volume or sales velocity. Well, do you think with your 250 feedback score that you're going to be able to come anywhere near competing with a guy who has 897,000 feedbacks? Now, this is just one of the first guys I saw on eBay. If I searched a little bit more, I could probably find some guys with over 1 million positive feedbacks. This is just one example. The seller's name is Better Galaxy. Feel free to check out his products. But basically, like most of the types of stuff this guy is selling, you're not even going to want to compete with because you're not going to be able to beat him on price, and you're not going to be able to outsearch him in the sales rank. Here we're looking on Amazon. We have a phone data cable charger. This one doesn't even come with a wall piece, but it sells for $1.85. There's 13 other sellers, and this is one of the bad things about Amazon. It's bad enough that you're selling for $1.85, but if we look here, there are 13 other sellers piggybacking on the same listing selling for $1.65. So everybody's competing for the buy box. I wouldn't be surprised if at one time this product was maybe selling for $6, $10, maybe even as high as like $14.95. But when you get like a generic product like this that anybody can go source from Alibaba, Amazon, etc., what happens is it's a race to the bottom. So you have 13 guys at $14.95. One guy goes $13, the next guy goes $12, the next guy goes $11. And before you know it, the price is down to $1.85. Now, $1.85 is probably only covering the cost of most of these people's products. Most of the time on Amazon, people get a $4.49 shipping credit. Obviously, it's not going to cost $4.49 to send this little 3-ounce cable. It'll probably cost you $2.63. So basically, your profit is the difference in that $4.49 shipping credit minus the $2.63. So let's see what that leaves on the table. 4.49 minus 2.63 leaves us $1.86. So I'm guessing the cost of the actual product, $1.85, is basically covering most of these guys' inventory cost, and they're making the was at $1.63 or whatever, that it's not costing them to ship. So again, another volume game. I wouldn't be surprised if this listing continues to get driven lower to the point where everyone's selling for like 10 cents. If you want to see a perfect example of this happening in action, go look at watermelon slicers. You'll see that people a few months back were selling them for as much as $29.95, and then you wind up getting like 50 people selling watermelon slicers on the same listing, and it drives the price down to the point where I think right now you can buy a watermelon slicer for 10 cents, if not even a penny. So this next slide, if you are going to play with the big dogs, at least be unique. This cell phone charger right here, or cell phone case right here, I believe, I forget who came up with this. It's a fried chicken phone charger. This isn't just an image printed on the back of the phone. There's actually like a very realistic piece of plastic fried chicken on the phone. And this thing wound up, I mean, it's kind of unique. Like, I don't know that I really want to carry around a big, bulky, fake piece of fried chicken in my pocket with my phone. But it is kind of a cool product. It's unique. It actually looks like a real piece of fried chicken. This wound up going viral, and this thing has sold through the roof. So I guess my point is, if you are going to compete in a competitive space, find some way to do something really unique and different, because that's the only way you're going to get any traction. And then one other thing in terms of this, like some products you can make unique. Like a phone case, they put a piece of fried chicken on it. They made it unique. With a charger, like there's really not, with chargers and a lot of those types of products, it's kind of a utilitarian product. I mean, your phone charger is for charging your phone. There's really not too much you can do to separate yourself. One thing I do think is very cool is a lot of the newer phone chargers are starting to put basically like a little mini LED flashlight on the end of the part that plugs into your phone. So that way when you're laying in bed in the dark, we all know you're trying to find the slot to put the thing into. With that little flashlight, you can actually see where you're plugging your phone charger into. So I thought that's one one kind of different way to make a product unique. But really, if you're going to compete in a really competitive area like this, be unique with your product selection. Like I said, guys, the moral of the story is some products are a volume game. It's one thing if you can differentiate your product, but with certain products like phone chargers, it's a pretty straightforward product, and there's not too much you can do to differentiate it. It would be wise to avoid these products, as you will either fail or you'll be working very hard for small margins, little money, and a race to the bottom on price. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any other examples, either from personal experience or just that you guys know about in terms of products that are just impossible to compete with, feel free to drop a comment below, give other people a heads up they maybe don't want to enter that space. If you have any tips or if you've personally succeeded in a very competitive niche or a very competitive product area, feel free to drop a comment below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If so, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.